What if the cage was never locked? What if the chains around your dreams were made of paper, not steel, but you kept pulling back, afraid they'd slice your skin? They told you it was safer to shrink, to stay small, to think within limits. But whose voice was that, really? Yours? Or an echo planted long before you knew how to dream for yourself? You've been moving, striving, surviving, but always under a ceiling you didn't build, one that sits just high enough to keep you reaching but never breaking through. And here's the unsettling part. What if the effort you're already giving is exactly the amount it would take to change your entire life, if only it were pointed in the right direction? You wake up tired, not just in your body, but in your soul. And yet, you keep showing up. You hustle, you grind, you sacrifice. But why does it still feel like you're stuck in place, like you're running at full speed through water? There's a bitter irony here. The same energy you're using to maintain the ordinary could be the key to the extraordinary. So why haven't you turned the key? Why does part of you still whisper, stay where it's safe, even as the walls close in? Deep down you feel it, don't you? That haunting suspicion that you're meant for more, much more. But every time you get close, something pulls you back. Something unseen. Something ancient. And if you don't look it in the eye now, it might own you forever. There's a silence behind your thoughts, a quiet place where your real voice lives. The one that never learned to beg for permission. The one that remembers. Not the world's version of who you are, but the raw, untamed truth buried beneath layers of compromise. And that voice has been whispering louder lately, asking questions you try to ignore. If it costs the same effort, why not aim higher? But maybe it's not the work that scares you. Maybe it's what you'd become if you actually got what you asked for. Power brings exposure. Greatness demands responsibility. And the truth is, part of you still fears the weight of being fully seen. So you settle for shadows. Not because you don't want more, but because the light feels too revealing. But something has shifted. The ground beneath your excuses doesn't feel as solid as it used to. The comfort you once wrapped yourself in now itches like old skin that no longer fits. You sense it, not in words, but in vibrations, in the way life keeps placing mirrors in front of you. Signs, patterns, repeating loops that all point to the same door. A door you've walked past 1,000 times. The one marked what if. And here's the twist. It never opens from the outside, only from within. But to unlock it, you must answer the question that haunts the edge of every breakthrough. What if I've been powerful all along and just too afraid to admit it? There are wounds that look like laziness, but are really fear dressed in stillness. You call it procrastination, but beneath that delay is a scream. The scream of a version of you that once dared to dream and got burned. So now, when the idea of thinking bigger knocks at your door, it's not logic that answers. It's trauma. It's that echo saying, remember what happened last time you tried? So you shrink. You rationalize. You aim for just enough, hoping the universe won't notice you're trembling. But it does, and it waits. Not to punish, but to provoke. Because your soul was never built for cages. And no matter how much you decorate the prison of your comfort zone, your spirit will always ache for the wild, unknown. And here lies the secret most never say out loud. Thinking small is not humble. It's safe. It keeps you invisible, untouched by judgment, unchallenged by success. But deep down, you're tired of safety. You crave the chaos of becoming. You want the kind of life that terrifies and electrifies you all at once. The kind where mornings don't feel like repetition, but revelation. That life isn't a fantasy, it's a frequency. But you can't tune into it while clinging to scarcity like a sacred identity. So ask yourself, what have you been protecting by staying small? And more importantly, what have you been sacrificing? Because whether you reach for crumbs or castles, the cost is the same. But only one will feed your soul. So now you're here, standing at the edge of a question that won't let you go. If it costs the same, why keep paying for less? That voice inside you, the one you've silenced with logic, drowned in distractions, and medicated with mediocrity, it's rising again. It's not here to whisper, it's here to roar. Because your dream didn't come to visit for comfort. It came to disrupt, to shake the dust off your spirit, and remind you that you were never meant to blend in. You were meant to break patterns, to defy the odds, to carry the fire of something so much bigger than a paycheck or a plan. You were meant to awaken. And maybe no one ever told you this before, but playing small is a betrayal. Not to others, to yourself, to the younger version of you who once believed anything was possible, to the future version who's begging you, please don't die with the dream still inside. This isn't just motivation. This is memory, a memory of who you are before the world told you to be realistic. And Napoleon Hill didn't write for the safe ones. He wrote for those willing to walk into the storm and claim the throne waiting on the other side. So the next time doubt asks, "Who do you think you are?" smile and say, "Exactly who I was born to become." Somewhere between the silence you've ignored and the fire you've feared, something ancient has started to move. Not loud, not obvious, but undeniable. A quiet uprising inside you. A feeling that maybe you weren't wrong to want more. Maybe the ache was never about failure, but about confinement. And now, you can't unsee it. The invisible prison built from small thoughts, safe choices, and dreams put on pause. It's like waking up mid-dream, heart pounding, not sure if you're falling or finally flying. And in that moment, one truth whispers louder than the rest. It was never about effort. It was about belief. What if your limits were never real? What if the fear you called logic was just a story told too many times by voices that never dared? You were taught to survive, not to expand, to earn, not to claim. But somewhere beneath the noise, your soul remembers a different script, a blueprint made of boldness, a frequency that only responds to greatness. And now, every second you delay is a second you trade for a version of life that was never yours to begin with. You can't unknow this. You've crossed the threshold. You've touched something that won't let you go back. And maybe, just maybe, that was the whole point. So if this stirred something in you, something raw, unspoken, and real, don't silence it. Feed it. Let it guide your next breath, your next move, your next version. Like this video. Speak your truth in the comments. Share this with someone who forgot how powerful they are. And subscribe, not just to this channel, but to the path that was waiting for you all along. Because deep down, you've always known the dream was never too big. The question was, were you finally ready to grow into it?